Hi everyone, this is Brooklyn, and this video is to help you understand how to use some of the tools in the Smart Notebook program so you can make your own programs. Okay, so firstly, part of my program for primary teaching is to include a teacher information page. Now this, anytime I open one of my files, so I have recent files up here, I can open any of these, and at the start of each of these pages I have an information page that tells me what subjects are covered and what outcomes I'm going to be achieving in each KLA. Okay, so first of all, when you make a SmartBook program, you are going to take note of your background colour of your screen. So for conditions like dyslexia, Irlen syndrome, students prefer not to have a white background. As you get to know your students, you'll get to learn what colour background they prefer. But to change the background, you simply go to double click or right click, set background, click on that. You'll come up with this screen here. On this screen you can select a solid fill, which I recommend just for a backdrop. So if I choose a pink colour, that will change my page to pink. If I want to make it a gradient fill, I can choose two colours. It will change the colour. However, that can be a bit confusing for students, so try to stick to one solid colour, like the pink, the light yellow, light green. Okay, so another thing you need to pay attention to is your font colour and size. So for this one here, I've chosen an Arial, which is much easier to read than this top one here, which is a Times font. Just mainly because of the sloping and the darker shade. This is more clearer to read. Try to stick to about over 24, 26, 28 size in font, just for normal reading, just so it's easy to see for students. Okay, also when I clicked on these, you will notice that one had a little lock symbol and one didn't. Okay, I'll explain those now. So reading this text here comes up with the text box. So I've just clicked somewhere and I've started typing. This is my text box. Okay, I don't want that there. So originally I would have typed here all my information. It comes up with a box. This green circle here indicates that I can turn my text box around. So I can rotate it 360 degrees around, whatever angle I choose to have it. This marker here, this little circle, allows me to increase the size of the box. And this little box up here gives me a menu of a couple of other things that I can do. So I can clone, so make a duplicate copy. I can cut, copy, paste and delete. I can lock. Now when I lock something, I'm going to lock it either in place. I can lock it and allow it to move, so they can't delete this text, but they can move the text around the page. And this tab here allows them to move and rotate. So rotating was by this little green ball, and moving was the text. So if I lock it in place, because I don't want students to move my text, they can't move it or delete it or anything. This brings up a little padlock to say it's locked. That one there is locked. This one here is locked as well. If you choose you want to change anything in this text box, you can simply unlock it by clicking back on it again, going to unlock. Now I can edit it again. Okay, let's go back to lock it in place. Okay, now you know how to lock something, you know how to make a text box and write text in it, you know how to rotate and change the size of the text boxes. Okay, let's move on. So if I click on this paper here, I can see all my slides that are in this presentation. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, they're all now numbered up at the top of the page, so you know which page is which. I can simply scroll down, see all my pages in the document, or if I click on this, I can just press my arrow and that takes me to the next page. Okay, going back. So because this page here is my teacher information page, I'm not linking it because I don't want students to get into this page. The first page of my document, however, is this one here. So droughts in Australia. Now droughts in Australia is my heading. So I don't want students to move this because this is going to be a permanent feature of my program. So once again, I'm going to lock this in place. Okay. Next feature I'd like to teach you about is linking. Now, if I want to join this page to my next page, I can create an arrow that takes me on to the next page. Let's go back and we'll learn how to do that. Okay, so to link the object, I simply made an arrow of my own. So I can go up to arrow up here, click on it. I can choose what style arrow I would like. So I'm going to choose the straight plain one. And if I come over to here, this gives me my different colors, my different style, start, end, and also width of my arrow. So keep in mind, with younger children, their fine motor skills aren't as fine-tuned as older students, so you might like to choose a bigger arrow size, just so they've got more surface area to hit to change the page. Okay, let's change back to my pointer. Now that I've created my arrow, I'm going to choose to link it to my page. So to link something, I'm going to go on that menu, choose link, click on it, and go up to here. Brings up a box that says link to. I can link it to either a web page in this file. So this program I'm creating now is my own file. File on computer, so that's somewhere on the computer that this program's being opened up. So if you link it to something on your computer and you open up on another computer, the link won't exist. So make sure it's on the computer that you're presenting. Okay, and current attachments. So let's go back to file because I'm linking it to something in this file. It comes up with page, select a page. So that's our teacher information page. That's the page we're on now, and we want to link it to the next page, which is that one there. So we're going to leave it on page 3. Next option is launch by clicking. So I can either choose to make the link on the corner icon. Let's show you. Okay. If you do this, it means you have to touch on exactly this icon here to make it go to the next page. However, if a student comes up and clicks anywhere on this arrow, it won't create the link. So, to make the best option for young little hands is to put it on the whole object. Insert link. So now, when I press on this arrow, anywhere on this arrow, it's going to take me to my link. There we go. So keep that in mind when you're making your links as well. Beautiful. Alright, so once you've created everything you don't want to do with this arrow, you can then lock it in place. So I don't want students to move it. I've locked it in place. There we go. Okay. So now how to link something. Moving on, we've got our video. Now I've inserted a screenshot of my video. So I watched the video, took a screenshot. I can do this by pressing on a MacBook, Command-Shift-3, and that takes a screenshot. I can edit it and paste it into my Smart Notebook program by inserting a picture file, and that brings it up in here. Once I've inserted this picture, I can then add a link. And then I can add a link to current attachments, which I've already got it open. I can also insert video file. So that will insert it. And you select your video and then you'll click to insert it. I, on the other hand, have already created this link. So now that all I have to do is students have to touch the picture and it brings the video up. There we go. And then expand it.
Three hours away by plane from Sydney Harbour, and a world away from the boats and water.
So it's always a good idea to have a screenshot of your video so children can see a snapshot of the movie before you start it. Otherwise, you're just going to end up with a link on a blank page. Okay, let's move on to our next page. Okay, so here I've got some questions, and instead of just having a link to my next page, I've created a link on this circle that will take me to the answers. So this is another way you can use your linking tool. This way the students can find their own answers. And it's not just about linking pages, it can skip pages as well. So this is our question page here. First answers will link to this page, second will link to this page. And all you have to do is when you go into your link box, you select which page you want it to go to. So we know the answers are on that page, even though this page here is page number 5, the answers are on page number 7. So I've linked it to page number 7. Once you put that link, once again, lock the object because I don't want it to move. Okay, let's move on to this page here. So I've inserted a diagram here that's not very clear for my students. However, that wasn't the point. I just wanted my students to see the overall picture. Now, what I did ask my students to do is to move these names and labels up into the diagram to show their knowledge. How do we do this? Okay, so to make these little boxes that move, it's very similar to getting text to move. So let's make another one. Okay, I'm firstly going to select my shape, which is this one here. I'm going to draw the shape. Once I have the shape, I'm going to fill it with my colour. So I'm going to select my colour. There we go. Okay, go back to my pointer. I'm going to double click in my box, which allows me to type in this box. So let's say ocean. Okay, I can also select my text and change the size of it to match the writing above. I can also highlight and change the colour of my text, so forth. Okay, now I have something that I can move. However, at the moment I haven't locked it. So let's go back into our little menu, and instead of locking in place so I can't move it at all, I'm going to allow students to move it. So this will actually lock the text and the shape, but students can't delete it. There you go. Alright, let's go back to our page menu. Handy thing to remember is, looking at this page, remember always to have your font clearly visible and make it so it's not so hard for students to see. From the back of a class you couldn't read this. So try and maybe put 1 year on each page and move through. Don't put too much content on the one page. Okay, now here we go. This is like a cooperative learning structure I use in group rotations. For this page, each group can click on their own group label and it takes them to their group page. Here they can select a marker and they can write whatever answer they want with their markers. Okay. I hope they write a bit neater than I do. Okay. So once they've written the answers, they can go back to the home screen at the end of their stage in their group, which gives the next group time to come in and write their answers here. All I've done to make this home link is make a small picture, and I've once again made the link, but instead of going forward pages, I've gone back to the page where my group's thing is. Let's find it. There we go. And their page would have been that one. So going back, put it on the object, insert link. Once again, lock it because I don't want a bit to move. Lock in place. text is locked. Okay, let's go back. As a teacher, for assessment purposes, if I want to keep record of my groups, activity and results, I can take a screenshot, Command-Shift-3 for a MacBook, and I can store that in a program such as Evernote and use this for assessment. Or I can simply save each page to the program itself, but then again, when I use it next time, it'll have to be changed. Okay. Lastly, I'd like to show you Infinite Cloner. So here we have a map, and I want students to label areas of drought found in Australia. So they would have gone away and did some independent research. And independently, I'd like them to come up as a group and represent where they've found drought affected in Australia. So I can let them label something by using an Infinite Cloner. So how do I do this? I simply make a shape. So say if I wanted to make it a star, I can draw a star, and then what I do is I go back to my pointer, otherwise I'm going to make another star when I go to click on it, and I can double click or right click. I go up to Infinite Cloner. So this makes an infinite clone, and because it's Infinite Cloner, I don't need to lock it, because every time someone touches it, it's going to create another model of itself. It won't move. So there you go. To change it, just have to click on the Infinite Cloner again, and then I can change it. Okay, so there you go. Keep in mind your font size, your colour of your background. Also remember that you've got plenty of resources here in this little photo frame here. You've got gallery, which has lots of pictures. Okay, you've got numbers, animals, you've got explorers, handwriting, countries, space, you name it, you've got it. Okay, you can add attachments. You've also got a Smart Exchange here, so you can go online and find some extra tools to include in your lessons. There's also some activity templates here and lots of toolkits. So have a play around, get to know your notebook program, and have fun making programs. See you later.